So Adam, I don't want to step on your toes, but
No,
Viv,
please.
your response made me think of something. Have you ever designed a character for, let's say it's Has Been or one of your other shows, or for Hell of Boss and gone, this doesn't really fit in this show, but I can yoink them out and put them in this other show. Have you ever cross-pollinated like that in that regard?
All the time, all the
Yeah.
time. Literally, literally, how every show has come to be has been that. Like, because
Really? Okay.
because when I first, like, my first ever project was this project called Zoophobia, which was like my childhood. Like that one's like my childhood project that I was working on since I was in like middle school, like elementary, even like to college. And I had it as a web comic, and it was my first ever thing I'd ever made, and I thought that was going to be my big thing. Like I was like, this is, and it, because of that, it had everything. It was a mess. It was like, it had folklore, it had urban legends, it had hell, it had aliens, it had like every, it was too much. It was too much. And then the whole project was based in like this animal created world that was like almost its own like lost world, kind of in the middle of like a fictional earth that had like this giant forest, that it was just like this little society where there was like sentient animals and shapeshifters, and it was just a mess. It was a lot of things. I like to think it was a soup, like it was a soup with everything in it, because it was everything I was interested in, one story and one narrative, and it was like this massive narrative. And a lot has changed. Obviously, I kind of realized this is too much. It's too ambitious. Then Disney made a movie called Zootopia, and I went, all right, well, there's my branding gone. So while I would still love, like, we actually made a Zoophobia short not that long ago. I think it was maybe 2 years ago now. Time, but I have wanted to explore those characters again in animation, and I want that to be a comic someday. But I've been able, thanks to doing that, exactly what you said, is where I steal, because the Has-Been characters were in that at one point, like Alistair and Angel and Charlie and all that were in that story. They were in like book 5 of this like ridiculous overly whatever story. I decided, no, these characters don't even feel like they relate that much to the Zoophobia cast, and they're kind of the side mission that happens way later in the game. I think I'd rather just explore that, and so I yanked them out, and obviously I've developed them into their own world and their own cast, and then that has definitely worked out. So Has-Been became its own thing, and then through that, Helliva became its own thing through developing Has-Been further, which they're in the same universe, but I think I've learned to do that more and more. So Zoophobia, actually being my main hub, is actually where I pull the most from. So there's tons of characters that were in that world that I've decided to pull out and make their own project. And thanks to that, that's made Zoophobia smaller. And Zoophobia now is going to be like a more young adult. Like originally it was like Has-Been, where it was like super like got really dark and got really adult and stuff, and that's just because it was my only project. But now I think it's going to be allowed to be like a young adult series that's like an adventure, and it has a much smaller cast and a much smaller you know story. But that's what I've learned actually to do, is to when I come up with fun ideas, don't just put them all into one pot. Put them in different different pots and different soups.